you remember the story of Henny Penny, also known as Chicken Little? In this folk tale, a chicken believes that the world is coming to an end and hysterically runs around shouting, "The sky is falling." As a result, Chicken Little created mass hysteria. Mass hysteria is defined as an imagined or assumed threat that causes physical symptoms among a large group of people. Mass hysteria symptoms typically include smelling gas, seeing strange objects, acting like animals, and fainting.
A strange illness has made at least a dozen teenage girls sick at the same high school in Leroy, New York. Ann Curry conducts an exclusive interview with two afflicted girls.
Psychiatrist, thank you so much for being here. First, Sarah, we just heard about this affecting you. Are you angry?
Very, very angry. I'm very angry. I'm very frustrated. No one's giving me answers.
The girls don't like the diagnoses they've been given, which is conversion disorder. This disorder occurs when being stressed is converted to physical symptoms similar to that of Tourette's syndrome. The strange contortions and tics the girls experienced are similar to symptoms the afflicted girls had.
They told us it was traumatic, but I really don't think any of us had that traumatic of a life before.
Their stardom was at its peak when these two girls appeared on the Today Show and appeared on the cover of the New York Times Magazine. However, when it was discovered that cheerleaders were frequently involved in mass psychogenic illness at schools, partly because psychogenic outbreaks often start with someone of high social status, much like the daughter and niece of Reverend Paris, they lost attention and were not heard from again. A small acting company ran a weekly radio show on CBS where they would retell classic stories. This week, the group had decided to do a version of H.G. Wells' book, War of the Worlds, by pretending to interrupt an orchestra performance with a news broadcast.
The Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations present Orson Welles and the Mercury Theater on the Air in The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells.
The news of the attack quickly spread, much like the reports of witches in the Crucible spread from Salem Village to throughout Massachusetts. Despite several disclaimers throughout the show, Americans all through the supposed path of destruction began to panic. They attempted to flee, warned their neighbors, and hid in basements in fear of the fictional attack.
Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt our program of dance music to bring you a special bulletin from the Intercontinental Radio News.
The panic subsided as real news reports about the production spread. The program sparked a national controversy and even led to radio stations having to identify themselves every few minutes.
Men in Nigeria began to think that their penises were being stolen by magic. In public places, men would scream that they felt a burning sensation when they bumped into another person and accuse the person of attempting to steal their penises. They would undress to prove it, and when the penis was discovered to still be there, they claimed that it was just a ghost penis. The first of these accusers were much like the girls of the Crucible, who simply wanted attention. The later ones wanted to follow suit or were suffering from an epidemic of mass hysteria. Nigerian men resorted to using fishhooks, needles, and shoelaces to prevent the retraction of their genitalia. The panic only subsided after a media blackout on the subject of disappearing penises and reassurance from medical personnel that penis retraction is anatomically impossible. In Delhi, India, there were hundreds of reports of a strange monkey man wearing a helmet who was brutally scratching and biting people. The afflicted girls in the Crucible reported similar injuries from the specter of accused witches. This began on May 13, 2001. It peaked on May 24th when police received over 300 calls, though most turned out to be hoaxes. Due to the terribly hysterical residents, a pregnant woman was spooked and fell down a flight of stairs to her death. A 4-foot-tall Hindu mystic was beaten on the street, mistaken for the monkey man.
Scared. Jahan describes a terrifying ape man attacking her.
I was very scared. I tried to run away from him and he kept chasing me. And he pulled me back and tried to attack me. He kept hitting me.
The Monkey Man of Delhi is an ongoing myth, though it cooled off slightly when police informed the public that the monkey was merely men in masks.
As you can see, situations like the one portrayed in The Crucible have happened many more times throughout history. The recent case in Leroy resembles The Crucible perhaps the most directly of all the cases stated in this video. It began when girls of relatively high status had symptoms, and their friends began to have symptoms too, just like The Crucible. When people began to doubt their claims, they almost completely disappeared from the public eye.
In the War of the Worlds case, word of the alien attack spread like wildfires to other cities, who also began to believe the radio broadcast was true. Towns around Salem quickly began trying and convicting women, and some men, of witchcraft. The mysterious penis loss of Nigeria was based upon the fact that people in villages believed in witchcraft and their penises were being stolen by magic. Much like the Salem witch trials, people were often persecuted on the spot without fair trial.
Finally, the Monkey Man of Delhi incident involved residents making many fake claims and wanting to gain attention by providing stories for the news. We believe the Salem witch trials to be a true case of mass hysteria due to its rapid spread of symptoms and stories through multiple towns.